Happy to be here as a part of centenary celebrations of Gopi Maman, as he was fondly referred to in our family circle. Asha, Anu, and Shardamani auntie were all part of our extended family. They still are. And Pankaj Shekhsaria's work is a very vital document as it highlights the central government total indifference to environment laws, to ecology, and the rights of indigenous population. Thanks for ringing this alarm bell. This is a very small island, 900 and odd, 910 square kilometer in area, and massive developmental proposals are being mooted. $1.5 billion investment schemes are being planned here. And what is very worrying is that apart from the global climate crisis that this can lead to, especially when the government is planning to cut down 9.5 lakh trees. And interestingly, we all know that one single tree on an average can absorb 10 to 40 kilogram of carbon dioxide. It's a very rough estimate. It varies from tree to tree. And when it absorbs carbon dioxide, it brings down the temperature. And we are still worrying over the global warming and climate crisis, so on and so forth. And this disappearance of 9.5 lakh trees from a pristine forest area, especially when India's carbon goal is stated to be intended at creating an additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons by 2030. And we all know that, and afforestation of all these, compensatory forestation is being planned 2,000 kilometers for all the trees that is being cut down in Andaman and Nicobar Island. Afforestation, compensatory afforestation is being planned 2,000 kilometers away in Haryana. How ridiculous it is. And we all know that plantations cannot replace natural vegetation. Carbon sequestration of natural forests is 40 times more than that of plantations. I can't help drawing parallels to what is happening here in Kerala and what is going to happen in Andaman and Nicobar Island. Some people, they sit somewhere in the government, top officials, bureaucrats, and they define in what way we should develop. I have of late I have developed some problem with the term development. Whose development are we talking about? For whom and at what cost? Especially when you're talking about indigenous people, how they are being forced to move from their homeland. We have rich coal fields in India. Almost 80% of this rich coal fields are within deep forest areas. 80% of these coal fields have already been handed over to Adani. 450 million tons of, reserve, coal reserves are now under under Adani Group. And deep forest areas which were home to indigenous people, more than 80% of indigenous people, their home land, have now been handed over to these private agencies. And it is very interesting how these definitions vary. We have been witnessing this change in definition modifications, who is a fascist and who is an anti-fascist. I mean, this is a secret document leaked, secret document of the CPM Politburo, now recently leaked. And it says that Modi government is not a fascist government. And I sit here still wondering, then who is a fascist? I have absolutely no clue. And like these changes in definitions being brought out, this Forest Conservation Act also keeps on revising and amending its laws, environmental laws, disaster management laws. Everything is undergoing revamping and changing and amendments. I mean, this kind of process is going on. The Forest Conservation Act, as per the recent or latest amendment, 2023, can notify a forest area, can also denotify a forest area. So you can, if you want something to happen there, any developmental project, just have to denotify. That it's as simple as that. Similarly, this complete disregard to geological issues and environmental issues, that also is quite worrying. Like the Andaman and Nicobar Island is located in a highly seismic zone, which is categorized as Zone 5. We have only four zones in India: Zone 5, Zone 4, Zone 3, and Zone 2. Kerala falls in Zone 3, which means that we are likely to face massive earthquakes. Maybe now, or maybe tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. We don't know when it is going to happen. And this Andaman and Nicobar Islands sits on an active fault zone. Active zone means anything can happen. I mean, it's still tectonic activity is happening beneath the fault zone. So it's very dangerous to put all your investment. 81,000 crore rupees is not a small amount. It is our taxpayers' money. Are we not, don't we have the right to ask questions? I think rather than putting the whole burden on Sheikh Sari's shoulder as to what to do, I think we have to start asking ourselves what we can do together. Look at the twin tunnel project which is going to come up in Wayanad. It is also in a fault zone. There is an active fault zone there also. And think about the massive destruction that it might bring about if a tunnel is constructed there. And the environmental committee, Dr. Bijukumar is one of the members. Fortunately, he has not been attending many of the meetings of late. He's a much renowned, very respected scientist, and he has taken his stand that it cannot be allowed. I think he was absent when this permission, this meeting where permission was granted, clearance was granted to this twin tunnel project. He was not there. It's a twin tunnel of disaster, we should say. And government is showing total apathy and indifference to these environmental issues. I mean, we can't be blaming only the central government. this is happening in almost all the states. We thought that Kerala would be different, but it is not. And the islands are also particularly vulnerable to tsunami generated by these massive earthquakes in the surrounding waters, which is evidenced by the 2004 tsunami. The islands are also located near the cyclogenesis area where the cyclones are generated. It's very close to that. So all these problems are totally being sidelined, and blanket permission is given to the project. It's not very surprising that the central government has modified all the environment laws accordingly, so as to facilitate this kind of massive investment in pristine forest areas, be it in deep waters, deep ocean, offshore mining, etc., etc. Look at the blue economy document. I mean, just narrating examples where the same concern we can feel over what is happening in elsewhere also. The blue economy document, which was released by the central government in 2020, perceives ocean not as an ecosystem, but as an economic commodity. Just like that, you mentioned that the term betrayal is a very strong word. I feel that it is a very strong word to use about commodity. That word to be used for an ecosystem, thriving, living ecosystem, you use that word and then go about a massive scale of offshore mining and not exploration but exploiting all the ocean resources. It's a warning bell for all, not only for the fishermen but for all the humanity. And look at the latest disaster management. I mean, when this exploitation is going to happen, when it has already started, but when it is going to go ahead with rampant mining of ocean resources, offshore mining, what is going to happen is that lot of noise pollution, lot of sediment, which will block the airways of, which will block the lungs of breathing, or which will affect the breathing, easy breathing of all these ocean resources. I mean, ocean species, especially fishes and the turtle, etc., etc. And when the sediments, these sediment plumes are generated, they will not be able to find their way back to their home. They will find it very difficult to locate their food resources. So entire ecosystem is at risk. And this permission is being given by International Seabed Authority, where there are absolutely no environmental scientists. It's mostly a business group of people which gives sanction to this kind of project. And look at you talked about the disaster, possibility of disasters in Andaman and Nicobar Island. Look at the recent latest amendment to the Disaster Management Act. Earlier, the Disaster Management Act, spoke about, it used to speak about protection of lives, property, and livelihood. Now that term livelihood is very conveniently removed. So it is no longer the duty of the government to protect the livelihood of people who are made to migrate from their homeland, who are made to suffer because of the disasters that we create. So this is a collective process where all everyone is equally responsible. So I think we have to put our hands together, heads together, and maybe filing PILs, public interest litigation, would be a good way to show our protest. And we have to hold seminars and also public meetings, make the younger generation very aware of what is happening in India and in our state also. And let us hold hands together, because we have experienced 5 massive extinctions in the past, and we are waiting for the 6th extinction, and we are uh, facilitating that process by giving our permission to to this massive scale of investments and developmental projects in ecologically sensitive areas. And after reading your book, Sheikh Saria, the great Andaman betrayal, I'm tempted to write a book on the great Kerala betrayal, which I might write very soon, because there are umpteen examples of great Kerala betrayals, starting from Kerala and twin tunnel projects and the township that we are planning to have in Wayanad, so on and so forth. So thank you for writing that book, and thank you, Asha, for bringing him to address us and to share his ideas. I mean, thank you so much, audience.
I've been listening to what Pankaj was saying and all the discussants also. I'll be talking about a slightly different aspect of developmental debates. I've been working in Port Blair, and now I think almost all of you know that there is no Port Blair anymore. It's renamed as Sri Vijayapuram, whose victory I don't know. And all those names which we had in 1910 have gone. There are no Neil Islands, no Havelock Islands. I don't know what are the changes that have come in. When I reached 2010 in Port Blair, I'll use the word Port Blair, I had no exposure to that place, its history, its culture, its environmental issues and all. And it was thanks to Pankaj and his team of, I think, 500 people in the group. Yeah, he has been maintaining a good group of 500 experts all over the world. And it is from that group and the discussions there, and the first book I read was that of the Troubled Waters by Pankaj, then The Land of the Naked People by Madhushree. Yeah. So that was my first exposure. But when I think about the whole debate that has been happening for the last 20-30 years, I think one thing that we should always keep in mind is that for every developmental debate, the most important factor is the stakeholders, major stakeholders. And the major stakeholders are the people who are living there. It's about 4 to 5 people, 4 to 5 lakh people staying in that islands, living in that islands. Started 1798 when Lieutenant Blair reached there, and 1857 onwards, people have been started going there. Then we know that 1921 onwards, after the Malabar Revolt, how many people have have been forced to go to Andaman Islands. We all know that. But unfortunately, when I went there, what has really disturbed me is the absence of a public space, absence of media, and the whole system is controlled by bureaucracy. Samir Acharya, when I went there, Samir Acharya was selling educational tools in a small shop. And I have heard about him through Professor M.K. Prasad, and I met him. And he first gave me the books of Pankaj and Mathushri. Sitting in that small cabin, I still remember him continuously smoking cigarettes and mostly drinking beer. He was telling us about all these transitions that have happened in Andaman Nicobar Islands. Then he introduced me to one of the most vibrant journalists in the Andaman Nicobar Islands. So when I say the media, when I speak about the media vacuum that has been existing at that time, we should understand the type of daily newspapers that were available there. The major newspaper is printed by the government. It's called the Daily Telegraph. So it is mostly, gives aspects of where the Lieutenant Governor has gone, what he has said. Only that. It's a gazette of what the government has been doing. On the other side, there are what we should call, yellow newspapers type of thing, which are mostly existing to blackmail people. So about 20-25 newspapers are there, which doesn't give any report, but mostly dwelling on negative aspects, blackmailing type of thing. So it is in this media vacuum. We are there as Doordarshan and All India Radio, but as you all know, there are so much limitations by which we can get into a proper developmental narrative through our channels. But there was one guy. His name was Zubair Ahmad, and he was the disciple of a very tall journalist called Govinda Raju, and they had what is called a weekly newspaper called Light of Andaman. I took an interview with him and it was telecast. Next day, you cannot believe, I was summoned by the LG. I got a phone call. Usually, he's a big king. You cannot meet him, you cannot talk to him. I got a senior IAS officer called me and said, Sajan, the LG wants to have a meeting with you. And I said, he did not even ask me to sit. He said, who gave you permission to interview the MP? I was taken aback. I said, he's the member of the parliament. He's the people's representative. Do you do it in Delhi? I said, sir, watch Doordarshan Delhi. See, we are a public service broadcaster, and every public service broadcaster has to give both the views. And he's a BJP MP. BJP is ruling. How can he deny him? He was very furious and he asked me to get out. And, for me, the life became very miserable there. That's a different story. But it was in this situation that somebody like Zubair Ahmad has been fighting continuously. And almost all the people that Pankaj has brought together, Manish, Shanti, Vishwajit, all the major, Mathushri, he was the most respected name all over the world. Whomsoever coming to the island first ask for Zubair Ahmad, they meet, they talk, and he meticulously created very detailed articles on this, and it was printed in Light of Andaman. And all the IAS officers, and there the another story is that Andaman Nicobar Islands is considered to be the dumping ground for the corrupt people. So when I am transferred to Port Blair and when I reach there, people think, oh, this guy must be a very corrupt guy. That's why he has been put here. So, but that is happening. If you are the corrupt, if you're the most useless fellow, there will be. So think of your attitude to the islands. It's a dumping ground for the worst in the country. But Zubair continuously fought this. I've been a very close friend of him. Our families have been very close. I left Port Blair in 2013. I used to have regular contact with him. He was continuing the fight. Then sometime he was also feeling very sad. he used to say about the Kafkaesque atmosphere in the islands against which he is fighting. He will also say, I will just read it out. This is not an island. It's a conglomeration of islands. The Lieutenant Governor is an island. Secretariat is another island. The Member of Parliament is another island. There are ships and airplanes by which the people from outside can come to Port Blair. But for the ordinary Andamanese, there is no vehicle to reach these islands of power. He was arrested during the COVID for some article which he wrote. Words miss me. He committed suicide in 2000, I think 2022. I am telling you about the story of Zubair Ahmad in detail because whatever Pankaj has been saying this should be told in classrooms in Andaman, in the college campuses, among the people, in Mayabandar, in Diglipur, Baratan, Nicobar, but that is not happening. I think out of the 500 people in his group, only Zubair was there from.
Few more, but mainly
Maybe Zubair. Samir is dead. Samir is passed. Zubair committed suicide. So, see, think of a society. There is absolutely no democracy, no political action, no civil movements, and somebody else deciding for them. Even I think I am also part of that somebody else who is thinking about them. It is for them to sit together and talk and decide their future. So unless that happens, I think there is no scope for democracy or public action or public debate in any society. They've been demanding an assembly. See, Sikkim with 5 lakh population has a state, but now our tendency is to kill all the assemblies and make them into union territories so that the center can directly rule. So I think it's a difficult task that Pankaj has put before us, and the only thing that we can hope is that some youngsters come up there following the path of Samir Acharya and Zubair Ahmad to start talking about their own land, their own people, their own history, their own culture, their own geography. Thank you.
In the Andaman Nicobar Islands. I think she invited me because I work with Adivasi women. And of course, Andaman Nicobar Islands has a lot of concern regarding the survival of the most primitive or the most ancient people maybe in the whole world. We were very close to Asha and Anu's family, and Janegam Gobi, as we all used to call him, was a very dear friend of ours, and had great admiration for him. I remember him as a very gentle person, always very warm, and even to us children, he used to always engage and tell us stories, ask us questions, not in which class we are studying, but about what our concerns are. I remember discussing with him our concerns about Silent Valley and other environmental problems in Kerala. And with Pankaj, we have been following what Pankaj has been doing all these years. We had left, we were in Andaman Nicobar. Satish was in Andaman Nicobar for maybe 5 months, and I joined him in the last phase, maybe two months, mostly in Great Nicobar. That used to, I remember only the heartbreak and the pain of all the destruction which was going on. But what we saw in the 80s, it was in 1982, 83. But what was happening there uh, cannot be compared with what is happening now and what may happen hereafter. I'm so overwhelmed and I don't know. I have no words. For the last 2 days, I was reading his articles and reading on our own report, which was not accepted by the Department of Environment. Never imagined that such a scale of devastation and, as he rightly says, betrayal would happen at that time. There was a plan for a naval base, and a road was being built in Great Nicobar through the forests, and which was all the whole land was subsiding and the road was becoming unusable. And still, they were bent upon destroying it. Some officer, or maybe some army officer, or maybe a naval officer would decide such an airport or airstrip will come in that area and nobody can question it. And it has come to a point when none of us can question this kind of, what should I say, it's pure madness. So these are issues on which I don't know how to discuss, because these are not debatable issues for me. These are fundamental issues of justice, sanity, ecological survival, survival of humanity, democracy. Everything is being, questioned and destroyed forever. And whatever is being destroyed is destroyed forever. And whatever we are able to save in bits and pieces here and there will have to be fought again and again in our lifetime. And maybe we are doing such an injustice to the coming generation, not only to the Jaravas and the Shompens and people who can teach us how human beings can survive in those, in our way, in our point of view, inhospitable rainforests. They have survived all these thousands of years without destroying their habitat in small numbers. But their numbers have not increased. But what is going to happen to those islands, I cannot imagine. So I just want to ask Pankaj, is there any hope? Is there any hope? Hope because we Indians, can we decide the fate of our land? What is happening and what's going to happen in Andaman Nicobar Islands has happened here also, where whether it is a question of dams being built, submerging rainforests, and institutions, very, what should I say, prestigious institutions giving, no objection certificates left and right to all the destruction that's going to happen is something unacceptable to me at this age. But, it's going to be implemented in our country also. So my only question, I have nothing to discuss actually. My only question to him is, he said, in between he said, there is a little bit hope also. Is there time? Will those islands be given some time? Or will we be given some time to question, or to object, or to study deeply? In our report, which was not accepted by the Department of Environment, I was looking at those recommendations. It is recommended that, the detailed studies have to be done on the land capability, on the carrying capacity of those rainforests before any decision can be taken. That studies have not been done. I am really thankful to Pankaj that he dwelt on so much on the biodiversity, on the richness of the fauna and flora of the, of the fern, tree fern rainforest. After many, many years, I'm hearing those terms. So I thought that he would concentrate more on the developmental aspects, whereas most of what he said was the destruction of the richest and the most fragile, one of the most fragile ecosystems in the whole world. So I'm really thankful to him. And I think I wouldn't discuss because I will feel very emotional and I don't want to say more about it. Maybe later I will come back to what Asha asked me to do, being a discussant. Being a discussant on something that is so vital and something that is so dear to our heart is a very painful thing. Thank you.